Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub.
News networks are not even getting clicks like that. So this shows like there's an opportunity for this, what we're doing here on this show.
Look up something in back check, kind of like cross reference.
Yeah, I should put the.
Hey, look that shit up. That's the name of your show.
Yeah,
that's right. What really drew me in.
Remember, we want you to be an activist, and don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley. Going. Hope I don't get in trouble for playing that last video. I probably shouldn't have played that shit. I'm always testing the damn waters, bro. That shit gonna get me.
You are now
Who and what are we gonna complain about tonight?
You are now You are now
With Lil G
to the sky.
KC, real.
Bambino.
Sit by myself
and I think about my life,
and I think about my past.
I be like my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
When I sit by myself
and I think about my life,
and I think about my past.
I be like my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Hey, damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine. Been building since '96. It's been a trip. Just trying to survive in this bitch. And you wonder why, where I'm from. Every time I turn around, dumber and dumber trying to pull me down. All my niggas screaming, just get up out of H-Town. But I ain't, this is where I make my bank. Plus I got unfinished business with a skank. G's be my witness, I'ma hit hard as a tank. I can't stop Casey the prophet, God of the day. I trust the game with a case for being fake, thought I hate all of y'all. And I'm willing to eliminate anyone up in my way. Sitting living in the belly of the beast, predator and prey. Either get A, pray you ain't the next nigga on my plate. Hey,
I be like, damn, my future shite. That's why I let all my anger out when I get up on the mic. They say life is what you make it, but shit, that's like rolling dice, man. Let me tell you something, man. Life ain't all night. People be like, man, that's gravy, man, but that shit is right. Let me tell you something. You tell them the truth, they be like, that ain't right. But shit, life is shite. It's like putting up with a fight. If you fuck with me, can't see, we'll punch out your life. When I sit by myself
and I think about my life,
and I think about my past,
I be like my future shine.
Yeah, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
When I sit by myself
and I think about my life,
and I think about my past,
I be like my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Hey, damn, my future shine.
Yeah, this is what it is. It's what it is. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. I done played the block and it's time to stop. Pop the blocks, then drop the top. Button how to say fuck the cops, they keep it hot up on my block. Keep an eye up in my pocket, you know, little G and it can't be stopped. Flip the script with serving dip, keep the heat on Silent Hill. You know when I know, that pure water just so cold. Riding on foes, slamming wood dough. Sipping on drink, fucking these hoes. Riding on bowls, push kilos. Me and my boys ball out of control. Got so much ice, you can balance football. Me, little G, I can't be hoe. Look at my mouth, see number go. Fuck with a knife, we'll make you fold. Look at my room, see number polo. Step in the bed and in the studio. Over your nose, the smell of smoke. Over your mouth, it's start to blow. Now you know we got that dope. Me and my boys ball out of control. We keyed up and G'd up. We should've lost straight speed up. We should've decided to pull my heat up. Lost things going back, I'm fucked up. Nigga, we keyed up and G'd up. Once you lost straight speed up. We should've decided to pull my heat up. Lost things going back, I'm fucked up. I'll tell it on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. I'll tell it on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. I'll tell it on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. I'll tell it on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle.
Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. Bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gap that spits venom, you sitting black. And when the bottom of the knife and it's smack, Iblis,
the cat's wax and I'm back.
cause he ain't suffered enough, hustles enough, scuffling cuff his hand to a cop, nothing discussed, cutting his nuts to his cock. Something to shock a spark out your heart when you stop jogging in the park. And you meet a nigga dog that fighting ball, blood spilling on the sidewalk. Staying in the light is smart despite staying on course, of course, cause the smell of death escaping out of corpse is rough. Top half man and I be damned if they bottom half horse. Hush, lost souls rushing to touch the black hole, wishing to be dust gagging and fuss, cause the demon face leaking bust.
I'll tell it on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. I'll tell it on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. I'll tell it on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. I'll tell it on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. Trapping and rapping ain't about the hustle. I don't wanna tussle. I'll trapping and rapping ain't about the hustle. I don't wanna tussle. I'll
Strap your boots on, we finna march, we finna march, it's time to march. Strap your boots on, we finna march, we finna march, it's time to march. It's better to gun, never to run, so here we come, so here we come, to sever the lung. Meticulous to the letter, ridiculous think you ever get with this lyricist. I really think I'll be feeling this shit forever. Gotta get my shit together, regardless of the weather. And if I think my mental's clever, smoking a switch or sweet on leather, the niggas can't keep me tethered. I'll fuck around, pull the levers, hot while you niggas wearing squares. And they got people in place wherever. I really wanna shake the ladder, or maybe it makes me smarter. Really it makes me harder, make me better to raise my daughter. You people gon' check the order. How many wanna be a martyr? How many is getting larger? Any respect the father. Strap your boots on, we finna march, we finna march, it's time to march. Strap your boots on, we finna march, we finna march, it's time to march. Live slide, situation, faces and names. Live slide, catching cases, chasing them games. Why you gotta kill for 15 seconds of fame? And why I keep it real but still expecting to change? Why do I feel like redirecting my pain? Smiling while I'm saying to myself I'm insane. Hating for your health, you can't help but be lame. Obsessed with the wealth and it's melting your brain. I done heard them discussions about cases and planes, and I done seen repercussions, I ain't touching the game. Choose the pictures you like, we just making the frame. You can have a light, but we taking the flame. Strap your boots on, we finna march, we finna march, it's time to march. Strap your boots on, we finna march, we finna march, it's time to march. It's better than gun, never to run. Either way, ball to the righteous ones. I'm a soldier, dressed in fatigue, listen up my boots, ain't scared of no one. Ready for war, even if I'm sleep. Waking up, busting these niggas on sight. I'm shining like a motherfucker, even the blind can see the light. Y'all think I'm ready, but we come with the heat that make y'all do it again. Remain the same as we keep it real. The format bitch niggas could never win. And I'm always ready to attack, making sure that you ain't coming back. Even if bitches don't get no slag when these boots are fucking black. Nickel.
Man, I think I want to play one more song, y'all.
Nigga.
That's the same thing I just said. Man, hey, do you have a request? Any of the songs you like that I be playing? Do you know the names of them or anything?
Man, you know what? I'm hardly ever in here this early, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, I'm gonna play the one Pat likes a lot.
Yeah. Woke up. I ain't feeling your side, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'm digging your wife, she playing my mic. She really so nice, I call her my light. I say we off flight, cause we stay up all night. Bet you ain't know she to take it all tight. Tell her, bend it over, let me take a small bite. Been waiting since October, see that ass fall right. Looking around the room, see passport eyes. And adrenaline feeling like a NASCAR ride. When the people ask about this, your ass gon' lie. Cause the truth is you did what you do in your life. Can't nobody tell you what to do with your life. Girl, gon' turn it over cause I know what you like. It's hard in the color of the asphalt, right? Just lay back and wonder what the past was like. While you looking at your panties ripped in half, that's right. While you looking at your panties ripped in half, that's right. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I ain't feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Let me tell you a little something about life. Win, lose or draw, I'm still taking your life. I mean, if you ever wanna fucking come in my sight, you scream like you never screamed in your life. Flip it on over, gon' do it like this. Not riding with a soldier, then you ride against it. Looking from the other side, make your stomach get sick. Every person scheming, thinking he the one to get rich. Ever sit and really think what you would do with one wish? And if you knew afterward, you'd be sleeping with fish. Style will be done, here we come. Bearing gifts, these images make you wanna grab your crucifix. It's getting dark outside, no sleeping past 6. Not living in fear, cause that's really not it. If you owe me something, Nick, better give me my shit. If you owe me something, Nick, better give me my shit. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'ma get inside. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Sliding on in, this is it, instant win. If hip hop broke poems, I'm fix it then. Take real life shit, go ahead and mix it in. Not just streets unless that's where you sleeping in. They hungry out there, that's why we eating in. Honestly, don't even let the church deacon in. Blasphemous if you think I'm speaking sin. Survival is a must for all the creatures in. If you feeling life's tough, then you probably need a fin. Have a sucker, popsicle or something, take it in. Sharp teeth, eat meat, origin involvement. Why the UFC give you more than a grin? Why you take a seat when the foraging begin? Why you gotta creep just horn in the wind? I'ma stop cause I'm just Al Goring with a pen. I'ma stop cause I'm just Al Goring with a pen. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. You sending black, and when the bottom of the ninth in this mag, you police the cat's whack, send them back.
Hey, so how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, we want you to be an activist. Don't take our word for it. Look that mess up, please, for your own benefit. And type what real is on Spotify. It's KCE King Chaka Entertainment if you want to check out the music. You could join the show live on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and Rumble. Audio podcast available on Spotify, Apple. Keyword King Chucky and T. We really want y'all to join the conversation. So please, when you guys are listening, leave comments or even just join and chop it up with us. You don't have to share your video, whatever, and you don't have to share your real name, none of that stuff. Just get on here and let us know how you feel. Trust you got some listening ears here. It's like therapy. People that have joined the show, they all say it was like therapy and they felt better after.
I
So
feel real fucked up.
we all could use some therapy, a little bit of therapy. I saw a video where a guy he was a homeless guy and struggling or whatever, and the guy came out there and chopped it up with them, and of course he did a video of it, but the guy was like, just talking to you, lifts it a little bit. Like it just, makes it a little bit better just to be able to tell somebody about my situation and what I'm going through. You know, just having a listening ear. I think that one of the things that a lot of people have the problem with a lot of people or whatever, like what really hurts them the most is this indifference of feeling invisible. Like somebody said, they would want to have a superpower of being invisible. But I really don't think I think you would be suffering. I really do. Because that's how the homeless people feel. That's how, minorities feel or whatever. They feel invisible, and it's like your indifference to their suffering makes it like worse. So so I really believe that just when you that indifference is the worst sin. Like that's the worst sin. To pretend that somebody else's suffering doesn't affect you, or to pretend that somebody that's there is not, and not acknowledge their presence or their existence. I think that's what hurts us the most. We're automatically community animals. Like we're a group animal. We're a herd animal. You know, we work together in groups. That's how we roll. Like that's our nature even. So when we are shut out and shunned, outcast, it hurts. Like that's some of the worst punishments that you can do is to put people out of the community and make them an outcast. So that's the flip side of this is how we get all of these zombie robots, because nobody wants to be, you know, scrutinized. Nobody wants to be, you know, made into the outcast. So they want to fit in. So they go along to get along. That's why everybody has the same damn opinion on everything. Everybody likes the same brands. Let me ask you this, Deuce. You like Nike, Adidas, and shit. I don't know. Jordans. Let's say
Yeah,
that. Nikes, Adidas, and Jordans. You like those? You like those
yeah,
brands?
I like Nike, Adidas, Jordan, but there's only certain Jordans that I like. But yeah,
Yeah, well, my point is there's a reason why you like Nikes, Adidas, and Jordans. Is because you really don't have much to choose from. It's all the same brands. It's the same. Everybody likes Nike, Jordans, and Adidas. You know what I mean?
and I like Under Armour. I mean, I get your point. Like, I totally get your point. I'm not discrediting it, but I like Under Armour. I like New
Yeah,
Balance. I ain't even too fond of Skechers because I think their shoes look like old people shoes. But New Balance, Under Armour, like they got some legit shit, bro. When it comes to comfort.
yeah. New Balance is good. They're running shoes. I like to buy running shoes more and more. So I think about that more than I think about the brands. But my point is that we all want to go along and get along. You know, we want to agree. We don't want to disagree. We don't want to be ostracized. So it's like what
Hmm.
happens is you end up with a bunch of people who don't really think for themselves at all. you know and it gets to the point where it becomes difficult for them to even do it. You know, it's your brain is a muscle. Your mind is a muscle or whatever. You don't use it, you lose it.
Hmm.
You gotta exercise it. So, but the system that we live in, robots. So everything is so easy. Everything is so easy, and you don't have to think about it. Society is already set up for you. You know how you have to behave. So long as you just go along to get along, you can make it through society just fine without knowing a damn thing, without knowing nothing. Zero skills. Zero skills, and no compatibility with other people, other humans and stuff. Somebody said, what does the title Gospel of Judas mean? Well, that's the title because that's what we're going to talk about today. So I usually like to mosey around till I get to the topic. So but that's we are going to talk about the Gospel of Judas. It's basically a book that was left out of the let's say the traditional Bible, the current Bibles. you know it's, what do they call it, non-canonical, but a lot of people don't. We covered it in one of the other shows, and we went down the list, and this one was on the list of books that have been left out of the Bible. Books that aren't there, that maybe should be, or whatever. However you want to look at it, regardless. But this is all like real stuff. Like, they got evidence of all this stuff as far as the writings go. So yeah, and it's funny that a lot of Christians don't know about all these books that's left out the Bible. But anyways, today we're going to focus on one of them, and it's the Gospel of Judas. And anyways, there's a video that we're gonna play and dissect and talk about, where the guy, he's explaining, he's talking about the Gospel of Judas. He's gonna read some of the writings out of it, and some of the stuff is really cool. I think it caught my eye, so I wanted to talk about it. It's it. That's what we're gonna talk about. You there, Deuce? Did I lose you?
Nah, I'm still here. I'm still here, brother.
All right, all right, all right. Man, y'all was sending me a lot of videos and shit. Is
Yeah,
that you?
man. I was sending them, bro, because this kind of stuff that I have been watching. It's from the Emory University. Um, it was a couple of other platforms that I sent them from as well. Um, I have been like watching this stuff, and this is stuff like I had watched a while ago, and just kind of came back around to after last night's segment, you
Okay.
know. Um, but yeah, bro, you know, uh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it's fun.
The other one is David Hoffman. He has some really good interviews. And there's a video. I don't know if I sent it to you guys. It's called, the title of the video is called "The Most Intense Heartfelt Description of Racism I've Ever Filmed," and it's on the Dave Hoffman channel on YouTube. And it's a
Hmm.
video about 2 years ago. So yeah, man, I was just kind of looking at that. I was having a conversation. I had a brief conversation with my with my wife earlier when I got home today, about 6 o'clock this evening. And I was telling her, like, it's crazy because, and I was telling you, like, I really don't watch those videos, but I know that it's something that we need to see, because we were talking about the Constitution and the
Right.
amendment, and I gave my opinion on how it was never intended to, and I talked to Pat about it a little bit too, how it was never intended to protect us as people of color, black and brown people. It, only where it benefits them, like in the sense of us going to the military for them or this or that. But we're seeing that there's so many uh black and brown people that are no longer in the military or ex law enforcement that are being, that are having things done, horrific crimes, committed against them by police officers and stuff. And I was just, but anyway, I know I went in that a roundabout way, but I was having a conversation with her. It's like, man, I've never felt this type of anger and rage. And it's like, I just hope that I don't have to encounter a cop.
It's
Like
messed up,
because
man.
it just makes me feel like, bro, because I don't know how I'll react. If I'll be good to live to see another day, or if I'll be on trial.
Because
Like,
if you're getting disrespected, it's like it doesn't matter who disrespects you or treats you like you're not a human. Like that's what I be saying. The blindly following authority just because somebody has a badge or a robe on doesn't mean they're not a criminal and they're acting outside of the law. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And that's what the
yeah,
reality is. Like every man's autonomy, every man's respect. You know, respect for another human. It don't matter. Have nothing to do with your badge or your freaking label that you have. Let me read the comments right quick because I don't want to get behind. Facebook user says most books were left out because they thought it was too radical or mystical for people to comprehend. Says mostly Old Testament.
I
But that's before
I
you say,
have a
Pat, well, before you jump in, let me make the comment because I don't want to lose it. But yes, I mean, that's what they want you to think or whatever. That's how they say it. That's their excuse all the time. But I think it's more like a lot of these stories will lead you down a path of enlightenment that they don't want you to get, and that's why they left those books out. Go
freedom.
ahead, Pat.
Yeah, that's more of what I was gonna say. But yeah, these are those books, like Judas or the Book of Thomas, the like Enoch. I mean, like all these different books, they would have given you a different perspective of the world than what they than they want the average person to see. Like they wanted to have control over you, so they didn't want to give you something that would free you.
Yeah, and have
That's
your
my take on it.
yeah. That's real simple, and I would 100% agree with that. I mean, like open your mind more because really we're confined mentally, like the Matrix and
All right,
The Bible.
is that my phone or
I hear something in the background. That's not me
hold on,
though.
you know what? That could be. That's my TV. My bad, guys. That's my TV, bro.
it's breaking up so bad? Like this worse than it was last night.
Oh,
Okay,
that
what
might be
about
your
now?
internet. I'm hearing him clear,
I hear Pat real clear. I
All
and
hear
I
right,
hear you.
everything he's saying extremely clear.
Yeah, you're clear to me too, Pat.
but I can't hear nothing clear.
Mm, I don't know.
That's
That's weird. Um, Another comment. Hold on. I'm behind. Facebook user, it's not an excuse. People barely believe the Bible now. And so what makes you think they would believe the other books? And most people don't even read the Bible. I'd agree with you that people don't really believe the Bible now, or maybe even back in the past. And most people don't even read the Bible. I'd agree with that. And then you said, so what makes you think they would believe the other books? Well, it's not about believing the other books. It's really about opening your mind because I'm gonna play this video, and if you haven't heard some of this stuff, I guarantee your mind gonna be opened up because they keep on using numbers like 12, and then they was using the number 13. The symbolism is crazy. And then when you talk about the summer, I mean the solar cycle, the zodiac, you know what I'm saying? It all of this starts to make sense, you know. So then even the writings that's confusing, it still makes more sense because you're hearing these numbers. And then you put this stuff in perspective with the other stuff that you've read from the Bible, and then you have a really different look at Jesus. You have a real different look at Christianity, and you'll have a real different look at the world in general. You know, the reason why I always go back to the Bible is because of the power that it has over people. You know what I'm saying? That gives it its relevancy. It's very relevant. It's probably the most relevant book. Like what book is more relevant than the Bible? Like regardless of how you feel about it, you know? It's a very relevant book. So that's the reason why I continue to go back to it because of all the power that it has over people. So, and I think that a lot of people just haven't taken the time to learn some things. So I'm always trying to get them to expand their perspective.
I think it has power just for the simple fact, like you can be a person that's pretty much illiterate and don't know how to read, but you know a quote from the Bible, or something. Somebody can speak up on something or
And
say a
everybody
quote
knows a
or
quote.
scripture.
And
Yeah,
everybody knows a quote, at least one scripture that they could just roll off of their tongue and then be like, "You, what you need to do is read your Bible." Or whenever somebody say something, they roll that quote off of their tongue or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, y'all, I'm not trying to be bashing right now, so I don't want to go there. This is all educational. Um, if your mind isn't open to read the Bible, then how would it make sense reading the other books? Okay, well, if that's fair, because if you don't want to read the Bible, don't read it, and don't read the other books either. Whatever. And what I always say is, the people that only read the Bible, like I'm like, there's a bunch of other books out there. Read some more books. You know what I'm saying? So focusing on the Bible is not what I'm trying to, get on or whatever right now. That's not where I'm going with this, but you have to dig through details to get anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You have to pick through the details, like the devil's in the details, the macro versus the micro, you know, and the intricacies of things is how you get a understanding of the big picture. Sometimes you have to go right down to the little details, and this is a little detail as far as the book of Judas. But it can help you understand the Bible as a whole. It can help you understand people in the world. He
Exactly.
says you can mix the world with the Bible. I don't get that one. It's contradictory to the truth in the word, which is why people are confused. It's contradictory to the truth in the word, which is why people are confused. The point, the way the Bible has been assembled is purposely confusing. So I don't know if that's what your point was, but that's what it is. I used to be very, very religious, y'all. I really was, bro. I can write sermons right now to this day. And I remember being young, we went to church, every day. It seemed like every day, early service, late service, Bible study, choir practice, the whole nine, basically, is what I'm saying. So I remember back in the days reading the Bible and really trying to understand it and having tears in my eyes, dropping out of my eyes onto the paper as I read, because of the frustration of not understanding it. And I was like, this is there something wrong with me? Like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I get this? So, but then years and years, some time goes by, and I go back and I look at it and I really start to understand it. But that's when I understand that it's purposely confusing. It's purposely contradictory. It says God never intended for his people to be religious, just having a relationship with him. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And that's kind of the point of this once I get into it. You there, Deuce?
Yeah, I'm still here.
This is obviously a hot topic. I probably should speed it up a bit. So, and I sent you a video about John Brown, because that's kind of similar to this topic. And then it's popped up on my feed, I guess because of the stuff we were doing, the other videos or whatever, because related to what we were talking about last night and the Second Amendment and racist undertones in the Constitution and whatnot. And then the whole thing with like Bleeding Kansas, the start of the Civil War. So this video I was watching said that they think that John Brown kind of sparked the Civil War,
I got you.
Yeah, that was the crazy guy who thought he could get all the slaves to revolt with him, and he could bring about the end of slavery, like abolish slavery in that way by freeing the slaves. He ended up just getting killed. He killed some people, but ended up just getting killed. But this was right after, I want to say after the Haitian Revolution, so there was a lot of tension in the air and fear of a huge slave revolt, like a successful one, like the one in Haiti. So I think that's true, and that's that did have a lot of impact and led to the Civil War. And bringing up the Civil War is just because, like, the way the world is today, like the way the United States is today, you got the Roe versus Wade thing. So the thing back when the states, when the Civil War, you had the free states and the states. So they had the
what was it? The line. What was the line, bro? That they split the United States up north and south, and it was like the ones above are non-slave states, and the ones below are slave states. Can't think of the name of that line right now. But anyways, that as the United States kept expanding west, and then it was like the compromise of 18 whatever. I can't think of. I don't want to say the wrong dates, so that's why I'm not saying them. But and then they made a decision that each new territory would choose to be a free state or a slave state, right? So, but then that's what really led down the road of the Civil War, because now you got states versus states, and people are rushing in, trying to make this a slave state or make it a free state or whatever, so you can tip the balance or whatever. So, but you got this slave state versus free state thing going on. You know what I'm saying? And it just bubbles over into the Civil War. So, however you want to look at it, that's what it was. So, today we have this you can get an abortion in this state and you can't get one in that state. And then you got another state saying we'll pay your legal fees and everything, and we'll be a sanctuary state for abortions. And then we got other states that say if you leave out of our state and go get an abortion, we're still going to persecute you. So these are the states versus the states. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Like, and it's a real sensitive topic, one that leaves households cut in half. And slavery was another subject that was very similar like that. It would cut households in half, brother against brother, husband against wife. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. So I'm not trying to be all scary, but that's just where my head is at on that. I'm about to go ahead and get into the gospel stuff because I think that's where everybody wants to go. Pat says there was more slave revolts in North America than anywhere else. Yeah, but how many of those were successful? I think we'd have to say a big fat zero. I don't know. You had maroon communities. You can call them successful, but they came back and got their ass later too. Shit. They ultimately didn't win. Anyways, I don't really want to talk about that because that shit is emotional. So we touched on that yesterday. Let's move on. I could talk about this stuff here without getting emotional. That stuff there is, whew, Lord. Okay, so this is a video that popped up on my feed. I don't even know this guy. I don't follow him or nothing, but his video is pretty good. I was watching it earlier, before I did the show, And the name of his channel is the Genetically Modified Skeptic. The name of the video is A Wild Story from a Gospel Excluded from the Bible. Gospel of Judas. So the reason why I want to talk about, I'm gonna play bits of this and we're gonna talk about it because it's interesting, man. Maybe I should start. I'm gonna start off reading some comments underneath the video. Does it have a caption for this video? It does. Let me read the caption first. The caption is, the Gnostic Gospel of Judas shows fascinating contrast from the theology of Nicene Christianity. Early Christianity was diverse. Unlike how many Christian institutions proclaim today, when National Geographic published the Gospel of Judas in 2006, we were finally able to pull away from polemical works and answer the question, what did it really say? Why did Judas Iscariot betray Jesus? Who is Sackless? What is Christian Gnosticism? The book gives us a unique perspective on those subjects. If you guys like this video, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let me read the first comment underneath the video. It says, the whole idea of Jesus saying the generations will follow a false god actually sounds quite prophetic and ahead of his time when you think about it. He seems to even be encouraging others to think for themselves. It's fascinating. Wow, that's perfect. And I swear I haven't read none of these comments. That comment sums up what the point of me even playing this video is and what I'm trying to get across. And like we said earlier about how these books were left out to keep people from, freeing themselves, basically, you know. So let me read this comment again. It says, the whole idea of Jesus saying that generations will follow a false god actually sounds quite prophetic and ahead of his time when you think about it. He seems to even be encouraging others to think for themselves. It's fascinating. So there's a part in Judas, the story of Judas, where Jesus is like, you following the wrong people. Do you do any sacrifices? I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, because I want to get to that when the video is playing. Let me read a couple more comments. It says, instead of trying to believe, I decide to learn. I really love this quote. Yes, that's what the guy said in the video. Another one, it says, honestly, this Gospel of Judas sounds like an awesome narrative for a fictional work. I'm imagining all the played out LOTR style, and it sounds really cool. I think it would be. I think you could do a lot of the stories and make them into like animated something, but don't make it too serious, and probably don't even tell people that it's the story from the Bible. Don't even tell them. Call it something else, animate it, and people will love it. Let me read some more. It says, as an atheist, I've always thought this story is an acid trip. Pretty much everything you hear from Christians, Jesus pretty much calls them idiots for believing. He says there is more than one God. Then he says he isn't the son of the violent God, Old Testament God, maybe. Boy, oh boy, this one left me perplexed. A couple more comments and I'm going to get to the video. It says, I remember being asked to leave Sunday school class for asking, the crucifixion sounds terrible, like a really painful way to die. But what if Judas never betrayed Jesus? If Jesus was a rock star, the crucifixion would be his first #1 single. If he was an actor, it would be his breakout role that won him an Oscar. What would Jesus have been without the crucifixion? Would we be sitting here talking about him at this very moment? I think that's a really good question right there. Let me read some more. It says, I don't even want to look it up. See, this is what scares me. Being ignorant is understandable, but being willfully ignorant is dangerous, stupid, and egoistic. Did they miss egotistic? They probably was trying to say. Let me read some more. It says, gotta love the biblical extended universe. Yes. Let me read some more. When I told my late wife about Lilith being Adam's first wife before Eve, she thought I made it up. I've read that the Catholic Church excised that passage because they felt that a woman shouldn't have free sexual will over her mate. If this passage was excised centuries ago, how many other chapters were erased because someone didn't like it? So do y'all know the story of Lilith? I talked about that in another show, and a lot of people don't know that story. So Lilith wasn't like Eve. Like, okay, so you got Adam and God. Let's say we're going by the story, y'all. Here's the story. You got Adam. God created Adam. Adam said, hey, I need somebody like me or whatever. So God was like, boom, I got you. So he created Lilith, and she was a mirror of Adam. Okay, so she was equal to Adam. She was made out of the same stuff that Adam was made out of. Okay, so but then there's a story in there where it's like Lilith liked to be on top, like she liked to have sexual control. She didn't really like to be submissive sexually, and Adam didn't like that. Adam was like, God, I don't like that. Can you give me another one? And so then that's where Eve comes in, because then she supposedly comes from Adam's rib. So therefore she's like submissive to Adam, like she's lesser than him. Just a little background story, y'all. Look it the hell up if you don't believe me. Let me play some of this. Hold on, I must not be sharing. No, I'm not sharing. Damn, this whole time I wasn't sharing. Well, at least y'all could hear the damn comments. All right.
Was only a couple years older than me. One day in her office, she frustratedly began recounting a conversation she had with a more liberal family member. She had discovered a totally new concept in that conversation, or at least one that was totally new to her. It was very troubling. Stressed and defeated, she looked up from her desk where her eyes had thus far been locked and over at me. She asked, "Have you ever heard that there are other books that didn't make it into the Bible?" Yeah, non-canonical gospels and all that, I tried to say as gently as possible. See, I had just become an atheist hardly a month prior, and I knew that if anyone at work doubted my Christianity, I'd be fired immediately. I almost was fired for believing in evolution, actually. I couldn't take the chance of coming off skeptical of the Bible as she knew it. My boss replied, "No one ever told me about those. Did anyone ever teach you about them?" "No," I honestly answered. "Then how did you find out about them?" she asked. "I just read about them online," I admitted, not willing to give up too much information. She leaned back in her chair and threw up her hands and said, "Why wouldn't anyone teach us about this crap as kids? I'm not even going to look it up. I don't want to know anything about that. I just want to live my life and love Jesus and not be worried about all of that."
Pause. Y'all cover y'all, were y'all taking this in? Kind of talks kind of fast. He had a job at like a Christian. It was at a church, and he had become an atheist, but he knew that his beliefs would make him lose his job, so he kept it under wraps. So, but what's really interesting right here is the part that the woman, when she said, "I don't want to think about this stuff. I just want to love Jesus and not be worried about all of that. I just want to believe." Like, let me take it back a little bit.
About this crap as kids. I'm not even going to look it up. I don't want to know anything about that. I just want to live my life and love Jesus and not be worried about all of that.
So she found out that there was missing books out of the Bible, and her reaction was, why didn't they teach us about this as kids? I don't really want to know about it at this point. I just want to love Jesus and not be worried about all that stuff. So I don't want to think about it. I just want to love Jesus. Don't get in the way of me loving Jesus.
I knew exactly how she felt. I had felt the same fear for months before leaving the faith. Sitting in her office at that moment, I understood that she was at a crossroads I had encountered months before, except where she had chosen to simply believe, I had decided to learn instead.
So, and that line right there is heavy. Like where she chose to just simply believe, I chose to, I decided to learn instead. A lot of the stuff, whenever they say blasphemy and stuff like that, it drives you away from further knowledge, from learning more stuff, because you're like, oh, that's blasphemy, so I can't learn about that stuff or whatever. So but does God really want you to be like that? Does God really want you to not know things? Like, the more you know, the more you're able to protect yourself, right? The more you're able to defend yourself, the more you're able to be fruitful, the more you're able to protect your family and build things,
Yep.
Let me play.
Those of you who have made that choice alongside me, I'm glad that you're here. Now that I don't limit myself in what I can learn about, I find a lot of happiness in learning about the things that I missed out on growing up. Think evolution or non-canonical gospels. It's almost like I'm gaining secret knowledge that allows me to transcend into something more.
Pause. and it's not secret knowledge really, but it is to you if you are stuck in the mindset of whatever religion that's keeping you from. Now it's secret knowledge, and he says it allows me to transcend into something more. Let me read the comments. How many of them were actually told to be to the public? Like, how many of them slave revolts that were successful were told to the public? That's a good question. But I don't know. I think we'd see evidence of that though. And Pat says that's most people. Probably the comment about the lady, like I choose not to, I'd rather just believe. I don't want to know. And Pat says the truth messes up the story for them. Yeah. Oh, thorn in my eye, the truth. You just a rock in my shoe. I misuse like I misses rocks in my shoe.
More on that later. So since a lot of us, myself included, are so cooped up at home that we're missing haircuts and having to change our hairstyles to compensate, I thought that it would be fun to try to spread some joy and some religious literacy by telling you all the story of perhaps the wildest gospel not included in the Bible, the Gospel of Judas. A bit of preliminary information: the Bible is a collection of multiple different books written by multiple different authors across well over a millennium. That said, the books that make up what we now recognize as the Bible are called canonical, as they make up the biblical canon. Today, some different sects of Christianity have slightly different biblical canons from others, but the vast majority of books that exist within one contemporary version of the canon exist in all others. This hasn't always been the case, though. There are a lot of books in the Christian mythos that were never accepted into the biblical canon. The Gospel of Judas is one of them. Our story begins as far back as 180 CE with a Christian church father named Irenaeus. In his work, which translates to Against Heresies, he wrote about a Christian sect who believed that the disciple Judas betrayed Jesus because he had secret knowledge about him. Irenaeus said that those in this sect produce a fictitious history of this kind, which they call the Gospel of Judas. Yeah, calling it fictitious outright seems a little odd by today's standards. Maybe it's a little harsh, but something we have to remember is that the scholarship of that day was very different. Irenaeus was a heresiologist, and the very title of his field lived a dedication to orthodoxy, an indication that it was not the study of what theology existed, but a study of theology presumed to be wrong in light of the one true theology, Irenaeus' own. Unfortunately, for centuries, writings like this were all we had on the Gospel of Judas. At some point several centuries back, the book itself was lost. Lucky for us, though, it was found again in the 1970s. Back then, treasure hunters found several.
Hold on, pause. It's hard to accept the fact that so many people that you trusted actually lied to you. I think that's that cognitive dissonance that makes it so hard. He's kind of fumbling around a bit. I'm gonna let it play though.
Several ancient-looking documents in a cave in Egypt, including the codex which contained the Gospel of Judas. In my opinion, they did miss a serious opportunity by not pulling a Joseph Smith and just starting a whole new religion by claiming to be able to translate the documents with a magic rock and a hat. But instead, they decided to sell their loot to an antiquities dealer in Cairo, Egypt. The dealer, Hana Asable, put the text up for sale for $3 million, but never found a buyer. So in 1984, he decided to store the ancient, delicate texts in a safety deposit box in Long Island, New York. They stayed there for 16 years, disintegrating in the humidity of the area. 10 to 15% of the manuscript we'll cover here was actually destroyed in this time, unfortunately. In 2000, Frida Nussberger Chacos, another antiquities dealer, bought the texts and got them to manuscript conservators who could actually preserve them, luckily. Finally, in 2006, National Geographic published a translation and pictures of the rediscovered Gospel of Judas. It was translated from the ancient Egyptian language of Sahidic Coptic and dated to the 3rd or 4th century. This means that if it's the same gospel which Irenaeus spoke of, the version that we have is probably a 3rd or 4th century copy of a text from the 2nd century. Given all that context, it's obvious that it was not written by the long-dead Judas. Now, I know what you're probably thinking at this point. That's cool, Drew, but what does it actually say? I hear you, so I'm going to read through portions of the text which I'd like to focus on.
Fucking finally.
It's about to get pretty weird. One day he, Jesus, was with his disciples in Judea. He found them sitting together practicing their piety. When he came up to his disciples sitting together praying over the bread, he laughed. The disciples said to him, "Master, why are you laughing at our prayer? What have we done? This is what's right." He answered and said to them, "I'm not laughing at you. You're not doing this because you want to, but because through this, your God will be praised." They said, "Master, you are the Son of our God." Jesus said to them, "How do you know me? Truly I say to you, no generation of the people among you will know me."
None of the generation of the people among you will know me. And these people who were supposed to be his disciples, or maybe they thought they were. I think they were confused. And that's another thing, going back to the confusion and the comments that the person made earlier about confusion. Here it rears its ugly head again. That, like I say, that rock in the shoe. But he's going to talk about it.
Pretty strange if you've ever read the canonical Gospels. Apparently, this Jesus thinks that not even his own disciples know who he truly is. Also, what's up with him saying "your God" to his disciples as if they're worshiping something other than him or his heavenly Father? When his disciples heard this,
Pause. Man, and I gotta be really careful about this, because a lot of people can't, like, this is really hard. But what, there's a passage in the Bible that a lot of people would remember, and it goes something like, he will lead his people astray. He will lead God's people astray, and he will have them worship him, instead of God. And he will give them all their treasures that they could ever want. And he said, I will make these people turn their back on you and worship me. So that's in there. And I know a lot of people will remember that. But it's funny, because if you could just flip that and hear it for what it really is, and think about the world that we live in today and how many people are led astray, then that would make sense. Like, I'm trying to be careful on how I say this. I'm trying not to be offensive.
they started to get angry and furious and started to curse him in their hearts. But when Jesus noticed their ignorance, he said to them, "Why are you letting your anger trouble you? Has your God within you and his stars become angry with your souls? If any of you is strong enough among humans to bring out the perfect humanity, stand up and face me." All of them.
I think that part is important too, because he said, if any of you is strong enough to bring out the perfect humanity, stand up and face me. So none of them could. And that's because of our, our embracing of the ego, our greed, our lust, all of these things that we do that keep us from being our natural human self. We're supposed to be giving and loving. Anything that's away from that is not us.
Them said, "We're strong enough," but their spirits weren't brave enough to stand before him, except Judas Iscariot. He was able to stand before him, but he couldn't look him in the eye, so he looked away. Judas said to him, "I know who you are and where you've come from. You've come from the immortal realm of Barbelo, and I'm not worthy to utter the name of the one who sent you." I told you this got really weird. It's apparent the narrative here is totally different from anything in the canonical Gospels. First of all, the disciples are painted very negatively. They might not even be worshiping Jesus at all, but some other god. Judas is apparently the only one of them who actually knows who Jesus is and who sent him to earth. Secondly, with that realm of Barbelo comment, I think it's safe to say that this gospel's understanding of the structure of the cosmos is pretty different from that of the canonical Gospels. We'll pick the story back up.
Okay. So what do y'all think? Comments. Did I read this already? Yeah. He says, your God within you is very important. Yes. Key lines in here is what you have to grab a hold to. That's why I'm so glad that he put the scriptures up there as he was reading them, because it really helps a lot. Because you want to pick these apart yourself. I mean, he picking them apart, but he's not going to grab on everything. Doesn't reach out to everyone. Some things are not for everyone. So the thing that reaches out and grabs your heart, grabs your soul, that thing is for you. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be a line in there that'll grab you. So it's like your God within you. So like, it's really you. You know what I'm saying? It's really just you. So you worshiping this, man, I want to be careful. Let me play some more.
Days later in the narrative. Because there's a lot of extra details here and a few places where the text was damaged enough to lose a few words, I'm going to editorialize just a bit for clarity. Another day, Jesus came up to them. They said to him, "Master, we've seen you in a dream because we had great dreams last night." And they said, we saw a great house with a great altar in it, and 12 people, we'd say they were priests, and a name. And a crowd of people was waiting at the altar until the priests finished receiving the offerings. We kept waiting too. Jesus said, what were they like? And they said, some fast for 2 weeks. Others sacrifice their own children, others their wives, praising and humbling themselves among each other. Others sleep with men, others murder, yet others commit many sins and do criminal things. And the people standing before the altar invoke your name, and in all their sacrificing, they fill the altar with their offerings. When they said this, they fell silent because they were troubled. Jesus said to them, you are the ones receiving the offerings on the altar you've seen. That's the God you serve, and you're the 12 people you've seen. And the animals you saw brought in to be sacrificed are the crowd you lead astray. It's been said to the human generations, look, God has accepted your sacrifice from the hands of priests. That is the minister of error. But the Lord who commands is the Lord over everything. On the last day, they will be found guilty.
Man, those lines are heavy if y'all can hear them. And then there's 12. So it's like really all of humanity is what they're saying. All of the zodiac, okay? All of y'all are following this wrong thing that you think is not, and then you're really worshiping yourselves. He said the stuff that you are giving to the altar is stuff that's coming to you. You are those wicked people. You are the ones doing this stuff. Let me play that back.
That's the God you serve, and you're the 12 sacrificing. They sacrificed their own children, others their wives. People was waiting at the altar until the because we had great dreams last night. And they said, we saw a great house with a great altar in it, and 12 people, we'd say
great house. That's like the world, okay? Like the earth.
They were.
Or you can even say like a house within the zodiac, like a astronomical time frame, like the solar cycle.
Priests and a name. And a crowd of people was waiting at the altar until the priests finished receiving the offerings. We kept waiting too. Jesus said, what were they like? And they said, some fast for 2 weeks. Others sacrifice their own children, others their wives, praising and humbling themselves among each other.
Basically, it's like, okay, you have religious people in here too, because it says, and they some fast for 2 weeks. You know, these are religious people. And then it says, others sacrifice their own children, others their wives, praising and humbling themselves among each other. So it's basically like, pleasing your ego.
Others sleep with men, others murder, yet others commit many sins and do criminal things. And the people standing before the altar invoke your name. And
in Jesus' name.
All their sacrificing, they fill the altar with their offerings. When they said this, they fell silent because they were troubled. Jesus said to them, you are the ones receiving the offerings on the altar you've seen. That's the God you serve, and you're the 12 people you've seen. And the animals you saw brought in to be sacrificed are the crowd you lead astray.
And the animals you saw brought in to be sacrificed are the crowd you lead astray. These are real people that you are leading into the fire to be sacrificed.
It's been said to the human generations, look, God has accepted your sacrifice from the hands of priests. That is the minister of error. But the Lord who commands is the Lord over everything. On the last day, they will be found guilty. All right, that's a pretty graphic image. Jesus says that the disciples will lead people astray in his name and will be unknowingly serving a different God, one that delights in degeneracy and violence. It sounds like Jesus is even saying that ritual sacrifice isn't right and that those who have been relying on that for communion with God or salvation will be punished for it. Next up, Judas also has a vision. Judas said, Master, just as you've listened to all of them, now listen to me too, because I've seen a great vision. But Jesus laughed when he heard this. He said to him, why are you all worked up, you 13th demon? But speak up and I'll bear with you. Okay, what in the world does 13th...
Fucking 13th demon, bro. Hold on. That part got me. Let me play this again.
A great vision. But Jesus laughed when he heard this. He said to him, why are you all worked up, you 13th demon? But speak up and I'll bear with you.
Why are you all worked up, you 13th demon? 13th demon. So then they kept on saying 12, and they were like 12 disciples. And then it's like this is the one that would he stood up to Jesus, but he couldn't look Jesus in the eye. He couldn't look Jesus in the eye. Like the son of son of God, he couldn't look in the eye, and he's the 13th demon. So he's outside of the 12? Is he outside of the system?
Okay, what in the world does 13th demon mean? And why would he call Judas that? Well, when we get to the part where they discuss cosmology, pay close attention. It'll all be explained by the end. Judas said to him, "In the vision I saw myself. The 12 disciples are stoning me and chasing me rapidly. And I also came to the place where I had followed you. I saw a house in this place, and my eyes couldn't measure its size. Great people surrounded it, and that house had a roof of greenery. In the middle of the house was a crowd. Master, take me in with these people." Jesus answered and said, "Your star has led you astray, Judas, and that no person of mortal birth is worthy to enter the house you've seen, because that place is reserved for those who are holy."
That means not you, buddy. You don't get to come into that house. That's for the holy
Well, look.
ones. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, if you really, all right, look, because hopefully I can get this out. But all right, there was, they always speak of the 12 disciples, which are the 12 houses of the zodiac. So, but one thing that most people don't realize is that there's actually 13 moon cycles within the year. So it's kind of hidden. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's there, but it's not. So, but, I think there's actually supposed to be a 13th, with like the within the 13 cycles, like there's a planet, or there's something that only can be seen during certain periods. So that's why it's not a part of the regularly seen or talked about 12.
Okay.
So it's, yeah, but I mean, it's a bunch of symbolism. Like, I mean, anybody that gets caught up in the literalism of the Bible is gonna be mistaken, because like just the writing style that the Bible was written in so many decades, I mean, centuries ago, millennia ago, that you a lot of times they don't understand it, but it's more of a science book than it is some holy or like mystical secret thing. I mean, it's just the writing style, and yeah, it is coded, but there's a way to read it for children, and there's also a way to read it for adults. So most most adults are still learning it from a child's perspective, or the way a child should learn it.
And a big reason for that is because all of these books that's left out of it, because then you have to expand your perspective. If you read any of Book of Enoch or any of Gospel of Judas, you know,
Yeah.
you'd have to look at things a bit different. You'll be like, wait, hold on. Let me
Yeah,
let me back up. Let me look at this some more.
because if you think about it, because I mean, all within Christianity, there were like the Gnostics, the Coptics, the I guess you could say the more new age, but like what most people are learning is, because I mean, even though it's like mixed with paganism and Christianity, I mean, it's really like some people try to make it evil, but paganism was something that where you gave reverence to the different elements of the world of life, the wind, the sun, the rain, the water, the just the atmosphere, the darkness of the skies, I mean, like, so it can, some people just make it spooky, where it's just really, you just have to have more understanding, or you know once you start to learn how to decode it, it's easier to understand. But um hopefully more people get out of the whole, because when Jesus is talking to you, I mean, it's an aspect. It's not a real person per se, because it could be multiple people. It could be a personality. It's a personality type. You know what I'm saying?
Let me
For
play
the
some
most part.
more. Let me play
Yeah,
some more
go
of
ahead.
this.
Just for time's sake, I'm going to be skipping a few lines here. When Judas heard this, he said to him, "What good has it done that you've separated me from that generation?" Jesus answered and said, "You'll become the 13th and will be cursed by the other generations and will rule over them. In the last days, they'll blank to you and you won't go up to the holy generation." I could be wrong, but I think that generation here could mean realm or plane of existence. So Judas, like the other disciples, isn't going to go to the holy place in the last days either. Although Jesus says Judas will become or dwell in the 13th realm and rule over the 12 disciples and maybe the realm of humanity in general.
I think that's what it's saying, you know. And then it's like, what do they say? Also, this is another line that everybody will remember. It's like the devil has his reign for 2,000 years or something like that. Like he's supposed to rule for 2,000 years. So, like, well, you know, and is it gonna be when you say 2,000 years? Is it exactly 2,000 years? Like, what? Whose scale are we using for those 2,000 years? And if the, you know, when is that time? You know, when does it end? Did it end already? Was it in our past?
Next, Jesus tells Judas about cosmology, and it gets crazy. It's actually such a long and complex description of reality and the origin of the cosmos that I'm going to whittle it down to just a couple of necessary details. Read this on your own if you'd like to. Jesus said, "Come and I'll teach you about the mysteries that no human will see, because there exists a great and boundless realm whose horizons no angelic generation has seen, in which a great invisible spirit, which no angelic eye has ever seen, no heart has ever comprehended, and it's never been called by any name." So there's a realm that not even angels have seen, where there's a great spirit which mankind doesn't even know about. That's not the Christian God. Is the Great Spirit greater than the Christian God? If we keep reading, we find the surprising answer to that question. I'll summarize because this section is long and pretty confusing. The Great Spirit creates several great angels who create angels and powerful beings of their own. Eventually, after dozens of powerful beings come into existence, something totally shocking happens. And look, from the cloud there appeared an angel whose face flashed with fire and whose likeness was defiled by blood. His name was Nebro, which means rebel. Others called him Yaldabaoth. And another angel, Saklos, came from the cloud too. So Nebro created 6 angels, and Saklos did too, to be assistants. They brought out 12 angels in the heavens, with each of them receiving a portion in the heavens. Then Saklos said to his angels, "Let's create a human being after the likeness and the image." And they fashioned Adam and his wife Eve. Yeah, Saklos, this being that's definitely not the most powerful being in the cosmos, is the creator of mankind and the God of Christians and Jews.
Ding, 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 ding. What's up, Pat? I'm really trying to be careful. I really hope people can hear this.
Well, I try not to be too graphic, but I think that there's is an error because like the 2,000 years is more, the calculations is more like 266 years or 2,667, give or take. So estimated because it's like an eon that they calculate, and of course it's based on the breakdown of the what you call the processions of the equinoxes or whatever um they when you calculate the 144,000, like that's out of the 12, the house of 12, you divide it by this and that, and like I mean it really breaks down to that 2,667, I think it is. So it's all math. Like this is like math and science that's going on right here. So that's the thing. Like if you try to pin it too closely to actual life, because I mean it is a aspect of life, but if you try to put it to a story where it lines directly up with, you know, it, any of their lives that we're discussing now, you're just not gonna get it. I mean,
Yeah, but
you
I
gotta.
think that especially this last line really pertains to the real world in a literal kind of way. If you can hear it, let me play this again. this last part.
Yeah, Saklas, this being that's definitely not the most powerful being in the cosmos, is the creator of mankind and the god of Christians and Jews. He also came from the same cloud as a being called a rebel, and his name, Saklas, scholars actually say means fool. Suddenly,
You're following the fool.
It's breaking up.
every
It's breaking up for you? You sound clear to me.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know, but I'm just saying, as far like me being able to respond to it is gonna be hard because I can't really understand what he's saying, and I don't have that book. But at the same time, you know, like I can't see it literal at all, even though they're talking about. Because I mean, the beginning of humans, I don't think began just like this. We're talking about something that's being written within the last few thousands of years, and
But it still makes sense if you think about it properly.
well, I mean,
So
the
these
entire
people,
Bible, the entire Bible was written so that it would last throughout the ages. Like anything that happens today, last week, next year, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, like it will always be relatable to, because it is a book of life, things that humans are going to go to. It's like the the energies of the universe turn and turn and turn, like they revisit us every, whoever's here during those times that those energies are in the world, we are going to experience those types of that energy. So that's why the book of, the Bible, like people get so, oh yeah, like these what do you call when these predictions of what's to come is, yeah, because it's been seen millions of times already. You know what I'm saying? Like this people have left the stories behind over thousands of years, and it's not something that's gonna ever stop because I mean, we're all held up to the energies of the universe. So I
yeah.
mean,
Deuce is quiet,
it
man.
just, I mean,
We scared Deuce out of the conversation, man. We didn't Deuce and exited the chat. Let me play some more of this.
everything just
well,
makes
he's in a
sense.
different
Jesus
situation than
laughs at the
usual.
disciples at the
So
beginning because they're worshiping the foolish god Saklas. He says they're going to lead people astray in his name because the disciples think Jesus is the son of their god, but he's not. He's from the realm of Barbalo, a place far beyond the realm of Saklas. The god of the world is Jesus' enemy. Saklas delights in debauchery and violence, which is why he commands bloody sacrifices. Honestly, from a non-Christian's perspective, I have to say that this makes all the evil and suffering in the world make a lot more sense. God allows suffering, he commands holy wars, and he demands sacrifices because he's just a heartless fool who enjoys violence. Jesus has nothing to do with this God in this text and is on earth in opposition of him. Finally, we come to the end of the story where Judas' so-called betrayal of Jesus takes on a different meaning. Then Judas said to Jesus, "What will those do who've been baptized in your name?" Jesus said, "Truly I say to you, this baptism which they've received in my name will destroy the whole generation of the earthly Adam. Tomorrow they'll torture the one who bears me. Truly I say to you, no hand of a mortal human will fall upon me. Truly I say to you, Judas, those who offer sacrifices to Saklas blank everything that's evil. But you'll do more than all of them because you will sacrifice the human who bears me." Immediately there was a disturbance among the Jews. Their high priest grumbled because he'd gone into the guest room to pray, but some scribes were there watching closely so they could arrest him during his prayer because they were afraid of the people since they all regarded him as a prophet. And they approached Judas and said to him, "What are you doing here? Aren't you Jesus' disciple?" Then he answered them as they wished. Then Judas received some money and handed him over to them. So Judas appears to betray Jesus, but is it really a betrayal? Jesus knew it would happen and he allowed it. So was it part of his plan to oppose Saklas? What does Jesus mean when he tells Judas, "But you'll do more than all of them because you'll sacrifice the human who bears me"? There is a lot of negative rhetoric toward the flesh, humans, and mortals in this text, so maybe Jesus saw being separated from his human body as a good thing somehow. I think we could better tell if Jesus thought well of Judas and
He said maybe Jesus thought separation from his physical body was a good thing.
his betrayal, if we could figure out if Judas' fate as a ruler within the 13th realm is a reward or a punishment. Here's my final insight into this story. Remember back when I read this? And look, from the cloud there appeared an angel whose face flashed with fire and whose likeness was defiled by blood. His name was Nebro, which means rebel. Others called him Yaldabaoth. And another angel, Saklos, came from the cloud too. So Nebro created 6 angels, and Saklos did too, to be assistants. They brought out 12 angels in the heavens, with each of them receiving a portion in the heavens. This is the dividing of Saklos and Nebro's portion of the heavens into 12 realms over which they rule. So does that mean the 13th generation or realm where Judas will be sent is the realm of Saklos and Nebro? The realm of the foolish, terrible god and his double, the devilish, rebellious god of flame and blood? If it is Judas in for the worst damnation of all the disciples, or is he to ascend to godhood himself? Does the secret knowledge which Judas now possesses allow him to become something greater, or is it just a curse? I don't know, and I think that's a question for scholars of texts like these. If you'd like to read this gospel for yourself, and I recommend you do, there's a link to the translation I use in the description. I won't make many claims about what this text teaches us about Christianity as a whole or anything, because I'm not a scholar of religious studies. I will, however, make a few points that I think I, a layperson, am still qualified enough to make. 1, this text shows us that Christianity was not united in its theology immediately following its inception. We often hear that this denomination or that denomination is closer to the early church than any others. But to that I say, which early church? There was never a single theology from which all Christian sects sprung and splintered off of. Christianity was diverse from the very beginning, and the only reason we think otherwise is encapsulated in my next point. History is written by the winners. For a long time, the only things we knew about the Gospel of Judas and those who believed it came from people like Irenaeus, who opposed them. Is it any wonder that we've had less trouble finding the texts that those like Irenaeus upheld and more trouble finding those they despised? It's because by might, popularity, luck, or some combination thereof, those who upheld the texts we've always had won. They gained power, so they wrote the history we learn in our religious Bible classes. Imagine how much richer a history we'd have if all Christian sects were able to record their perspectives too. Finally, here's my obligatory point as an atheist and skeptic. Given that from so early on in Christian history, theology and practice was so varied and divided, the idea that God has made his message clear is just absurd. As early as the 2nd century, Christians already disagreed on the fundamental points. Who is God? Who is Jesus? How do we worship? Is there an afterlife? What is the afterlife like? Those were all points of disagreement among Christians long before any contemporary Christian sects took shape. It doesn't seem like God cared to make things very clear, so what was the point of sending Jesus at all? It's apparent to me, at least, that God probably didn't have anything to do with the genesis of Christianity at all. I hope you all enjoyed listening to this story as much as I've enjoyed.
Yeah, I think you did a good job, buddy. I enjoyed your content. What do y'all think? Somebody made a comment right here. Let me read it. It says, damn, these folks are going to have a hard time with the James Webb Telescope images and realizing that the Bible being written in a minuscule time in the grand scheme of billions of years of the universe being formed and expanded and absorbed. How could an educated individual believe our world, which is a speck of dust in the grand scheme of things, is controlled by a God that needs to be worshipped? Dun, dun, dun. I approve this message. Pat says, the esoteric teachings of the Bible will give you much higher understanding of the sciences. So let me read some more comments underneath this video. because the ones I read earlier were good. So I'm sure there's some more. Let me find where I stopped. Lilith. I don't think I read this one. Let me read this one. It says, really appreciate this carefully researched and presented analysis. Personally, I studied apocryphal Jewish and Christian, or at least Christian adjacent, literature in high school, college, and grad school. And in my cases, I didn't kill my faith. In fact, I found it strengthening in that it helped to challenge me and lead me to growth. Rather than kill faith, engaging learning without fear or avoidance can lead to a deeper, more authentic faith. It's challenging but worthwhile. And I think it's perfectly fine and good if a person lands on atheism, whether permanent or traditional and temporary. Keep learning and exploring, friends. I condone that message too, man. It's totally okay to be a religious person. You know what I'm saying? But this person said that they went on and continued to study more and more on it all. Like, and it didn't shake their faith. They still believe, and that's totally okay. That's totally all right. I bet you they have a way better understanding than the average person that's freaking just reading the same passages out of the Bible every day. Let me read another comment. It says, when I turned 13, I decided that I didn't believe or interpret Christian teachings the same way my parents, or most of my family for that matter, believed and interpreted them. I decided to look into all religions I knew of, learn of new ones, dig into everything I could, and find what made sense to me. I found my own joy. I don't force it on others. I explain my point of view if people ask for it, and I refuse to limit my knowledge. I passed that view on to my own kids. I told them to look into and question everything. And if it doesn't make sense or feel right to them and my friends and family that look at me like a heretic or some crazy woman, they could not have truly loved me to begin with if they were willing to cut me out of their lives for the crime of thought and choice. Not to mention, my biggest issue with traditional Christianity amongst my family and home state is their inclination to cut people by their family, friend, loved one, etc., out of their lives entirely if they somehow conflict with that faith. If you believe someone may go to hell for being gay, as told by your faith, then why the hell, pun intended, would you not want to help them? Don't get me wrong, thumpers are annoying to the extreme, but I would still prefer have a thumper pestering me out of love and concern to save me from hell than being cut out of their life for being a flawed human being. Man, that's a touching comment right there. And the journey that this person is saying they went on, I went on a similar journey because, my dad was Muslim, my mom's Christian, and I kind of grew up in a split kind of thing. And then it's like my views grew on both of them. So, but then as I became an adult, or even before I became an adult, before I became an adult, because I was super into religion. And that's kind of why I do the anthropology stuff, because that's kind of the same stuff. But um, I started studying a bunch of other religions too and comparing them. That's exactly what I did. Let me read some more comments. It says, the Forbidden Gospels and the Book of Enoch are incredible books. Definitely a need to check a lot of books. The Catholic Church has tried to hide so much. It's a joke. Also, if you really want to hear a musical version, the band Lord of the Lost have written an album called Judas. Bloody brilliant, this guy says. Another comment. All of my most frustrating childhood memories are about times when I would ask a grown-up some kind of question about reality and got a cooped-out dummy designed to hide the truth instead of an honest answer. This nightmare of lies continued until I was finally able to get access to the internet, went online and searched for those answers, but sadly, I was a grown-up myself already when that happened. Man, how many of us went through that? And I be talking about that. Why do we lie to our kids about everything anyways? Like, that's so freaking retarded. We putting them, behind already off the top. And like he said, ask the questions. I used to ask questions a lot when I was a little kid. And it's like, that's what led me on my journey. Pat says, love that last comment. He says, metaphysics is a religion that gave clarity and calmness since I could finally get true understanding. Because I think it's the same thing, man. And I think that Pat understands that, because once you really start going into like metaphysics, or if you go into anything, you're looking at God, you're looking at the universe. That's really what it is. Anything that you look at in detail is going to be God, the universe. So the macro versus the micro, like, so when you go really deep and start looking at it internally, so like you can look at atom, and then look at like the parts that make up the atom, and it's going to look like a solar system. Is what it's going to look like. And that's what it is, man. It's like the macro and the micro, little solar systems inside. What is it? As above, so below. As within, so without. So that's what I mean by if you really go into details of the metaphysics, if you really go into details about like the stars, then you're looking at, you're going to be looking at spirituality, because it's one and the same, really. You there, Deuce? You want to make comments? I've been talking a lot. My mouth dry as hell.
Nah, I'm here, bro. Like, uh, yeah, this kind. I ain't gonna lie. This is kind of outside of my realm. Like, in all honesty.
Yeah, I figured you got real quiet and she like, Deuce has exited the chat.
Yeah, man. I mean, I never really got into religion real heavily, bro. Like, I'll just be honest with you. Never really got into it real heavily beyond, going to church, as a kid, pretty much being forced to go. But I never really got into it. Like, I don't really know much about it. I never studied it, any of that.
My green scheme is not showing that good, but hopefully y'all can see. It's a lot of symbolism in this right here. I'm sure Pat can see him. It's like the crown around his head, and you see like it's like light rays are coming out, and then it's orange behind his head. It's like a circle there. And then of course you got the cross in the back, and then he's like, supposedly this is a death machine. He's dying on the cross. And then you've got the two sides on one side of him, it looks like maybe the sun, and then on the other side it looks like the moon. And I cut off the top of this, but if you can look, if these little shapes up here kind of look like the egg of life, if you can see the top of it, but I cut it off. And then at the bottom, you have the man and the woman. Is that what it is? I can't freaking see. I think it's the man and the woman. And one has like, it's like comparing to the moon, and the other one's comparing to the sun, I think, because it's like the yellow versus the red. Shit, I wish I could see that better. But yeah, so the thing is, all of this symbolism here, you can learn from this. Once you start learn how to study symbols, the information is out there, and you can understand all of this stuff way better once you start looking up the symbols and like what they mean and stuff. Because what people don't really understand is like, a lot of people couldn't read back in the day, everything was symbols. It's like today, like the bathroom, most of the time when you go somewhere and there's a restroom, and then it's identified, as a restroom, it's a lot of times it doesn't say restroom, and a lot of times it doesn't say men or women or whatever. There's a symbol on there, and that you look up and you see that symbol, and then you walk in. You know what I'm saying? Because you already know it's a restroom, because you know that symbol identifies it as that. So when you go backwards in time and realize that a lot of people couldn't really read, so there was a lot of symbols everywhere to tell people this, that, and other, just like the bathroom. And so that's what it is. So um to understand this stuff, you got to understand what those symbols mean.
I got you.
Yeah. It's kind of like reading, because see, really reading is interpreting, prescribing a meaning to a symbol that's, understood, as far as like agreed upon. So then, but that's a bunch of characters put together and then making a sentence or whatever. So people didn't have that complex of a way of reading, but they could read basic symbols. And that's what they would do. They would put up these basic symbols everywhere, or walk around with them, or even have them on paper or whatever the hell it was. Not paper, because they probably didn't have that much of that. But y'all get what I'm saying. I'm fucking rambling. I've been talking too fucking much. Oh shit, I need to play something so my voice can get some rest. Fuck. Let me see if I can find something here. I think we got something. Instagram. I need a voice rest.
Ability to have the confidence to give him that perspective. Then we can talk about it, and he can. I love him so much, and I desire to honor and respect him. When I married him, so I would assume that he wants me to feel the same exact way. To take my perspective into high consideration with him. But I married a grown man. I'm not going to be disrespectful. Well, I had to learn that I do not correct my husband. I believe that it is my responsibility to have the confidence to give him my perspective. Then we can talk about it, and he can self-correct. I love him so much, and I desire to honor and respect him. When I married him, so I would assume that he wants me to feel the same exact way. To take my perspective into high consideration with his actions. But I married a grown man. I'm not going to be another child.
Man, that's so freaking heavy, bro. Because I swear, in the relationships, it's this damn dynamic where it's like men are children, and they say it all the time. When women are talking, it's like the men are like children. It's like, oh,
Well, I think that boils down to the chick you're with. I mean, but yeah, you do hear a lot of women say that shit. Let me not say that's not true. Yeah, you hear a lot of women say that shit all the time.
yeah. So, and then it's like, yeah. So go ahead with what you were gonna say. The person that you were with.
No, I was just gonna say, I think a lot of times it boils down to the individual, to the person that you're with, to the woman that you're with. You know what I'm saying? Because, I think for a woman to see you as a child, she doesn't respect you. You know what I'm saying? She has removed respect off the table. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my personal take on it. You know, like, like you have a woman say, "Oh, you're acting like a child because you're trying to have a conversation with them and they have ultimately shut down and you're like, what, why, what's going on, like, talk to me, what the fuck, oh, you're acting like a child now. No, that's a lot of that shit is an escape, bro. That's they say that shit to try to piss you off so that you don't no longer talk anymore. You just kind of like, whatever, fuck you. Like, that's my personal opinion.
Pat says, if we don't have some confusion as a child, may not give us the eagerness to find out for ourselves. I don't know about that, Pat. I don't know if I can condone that right there. Because you're going to automatically have confusion because you don't know anything. So you want to clear that confusion up as much as you can. He says, or the maturity to accept it. I think we don't give the children are just little people. I don't think we give them enough credit. He says men have the simplicity of a child. Okay.
Most of us are pretty simple.
Yeah. Yeah, it don't take much to please me, man. Be honest. Tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? What else? I don't know. Don't belittle me. Care. Shit, that's about it. I'm not asking you for nothing. I don't need anything from you. Support my whatever I'm trying to do, like my vision, my way of moving. Like support. Give me positive feedback and give me criticism. I think the king needs to have his counsel. The queen is the king's counsel, like the lady was saying in there. The king makes the decision, but the queen's counsel is the main thing he takes into consideration when he's making his decision. She's going to want to try to steer him in the way, and a lot of times it's going to go the way that she says, especially if it makes sense. It's logical and thoughtful and the right thing. And even when the king makes a different decision and then it backfires and it's bad or whatever, it goes wrong, the queen don't say nothing. She's like, whatever, I said what I said. I don't have to say I told you so, because that's going to be ringing in your head. And then you make your corrections and you go to the queen and you be like, you was right, queen. I need to go make me some adjustments and fix this because this ain't working.
Yeah.
Because we be wrong. We wrong sometime, but somebody got to drive the car, right?
Yeah. We wrong sometimes, but I mean, I can't sit here and say we wrong all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's a mutual thing when you talk about that. When you speak on what's wrong or what's right, because you do have, I think we failed to mention that there's a lot of women out here, especially in our situations, that they want to be so headstrong. They want to be in control of everything, and that shit don't work like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like I know my role. I play my role. You play your role. Like, you got someone that just have to be in control of everything. Especially if you are attracted to those narcissistic ass women. The minute they're not in control, bruh, shit goes south real quick.
Man, I swear, I think I'm a glutton for abuse sometimes.
Bro, at the age that I am now, dog, I want peace and harmony, bro. I want somebody that's trustworthy, loyal, that go hard like I go hard. Cause I'm gonna bend over backwards for you. I'm gonna go hard for you. I just want the same thing. That's all I want.
It's the lyrics to that song. It's like sweet dreams. It's like sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world in 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. And it's like some of them want to use you.
Some of them want to be loved by you.
Yeah, and then it's like some of them want to abuse you, and some of them want to be abused. Those lyrics are so prolific, bruh. They ring in my head every now and then. Every now and then, those lyrics just come into my head because I think about society and I think about all the people, because people fit in these categories. You know what I mean? And sometimes, it's just them. You can't change people, right? You can't change them. They really who they are, And some people want to be abused. Like, it's a crazy thought to think, but I think that if somebody does want to be abused, they have been damaged. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot of damaged folks out here, bro.
Because a child doesn't come into the world wanting to be abused. I don't think they're born that way. I think that's what happens. And sometimes people just choose their lane, like the lady in the video that we played earlier. Just choose to believe. I don't want to know any of this stuff. I don't. I just want to. I just want to love Jesus. I just want my life simple.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know that I'm right. I just want to know that I'm following God. I'm doing the right thing. I'm a good, righteous Christian. You know, that's it. I don't want to. I don't want to get caught up in all the rest of that stuff. I just, I'm a good, righteous Christian. I do what I'm supposed to do. I don't want to know all that. I don't. But then, what the problem with that is that it's like you got those blinders on, so you're being guided by someone else, and you're also not really experiencing life, and you're lost. You're blind, and
Yep.
you're not having your own autonomy. You're not living the life that you really want to live. And then you're forcing other people to be confined because you're telling them this is the right way to be.
Mm-hmm.
And who are you to tell somebody else how they worship, and how to live their life?
Yep. But
One,
unfortunately, you have a lot of old heads out there like that, bro.
because one man might say, my prayer is early morning sun, catching the sun rising and smoking a blunt and saying, thank you for this day. I give thanks as you exhale your smoke. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's my ritual, but someone might say that and they'll be like, that's how I praise. But then a whole bunch of people will have a problem with that.
Yep.
Let me read the comments. Pat said
That's why.
let me read the comments right quick. Pat says the queen's job is to give her perspective so the king can make a more balanced decision. Me and Pat are on the same wavelength with that one. He says, what about Jesus actually being a Muslim? Dun, dun, dun. I mean, hey, but the Christianity, if we're gonna go by the story, Christianity didn't exist in the time of Jesus. It came along later. That's why a lot of people were like, Jesus was a Jew.
Yeah.
Anyways, that takes, like I say, that's the kind of stuff that takes studying and all that stuff. A lot of people don't want to go down these rabbit holes. They're afraid. It's the cognitive dissonance. They say stop using air fryers because they have toxic chemicals. I know Teflon is not a good thing. I was watching a documentary about it, and it's like this stuff stays in the environment. It doesn't deteriorate. It's like forever, and it also gets all into your bloodstream and then your digestive cycle. It's crazy, and it doesn't deteriorate. It don't break down.
It goes into your body. And sure, they've outlawed some of the forever chemicals, but there's a ton more that are still in there. Luckily, they do make air fryers that are 100% stainless steel and non-toxic. I highly recommend those. These I would get rid of. Air fryers are very popular, but pull open the one you have at home. If it's coated in this Teflon, I highly recommend not using it because Teflon is a toxic chemical that if you misuse it, it has forever chemicals. And they're called forever chemicals because they never leave your body. And the problem is they're very easy to leach out. If you overheat your Teflon, they go into the air, you breathe it. If you scratch your Teflon, which a lot of us do using tongs or forks, it goes into your food, it goes into your body. And sure, they've outlawed some of the forever chemicals, but there's a ton more that are still in there. Luckily, they do make air fryers that are 100%.
Okay. I guess he's selling stainless steel air fryers, but it's still a good deal. What do you think, Deuce?
Man, I don't know, cause I got two air fryers. I got an air fryer that's a grill, that's a dehydrator. Uh, I got one that we cook oxtails in that turns into a pressure cooker. All made by Ninja. So I don't know, bro. Like we cook a lot in our air fryers. Like a lot of my meal preps are done in air fryers. So I didn't know that. You know, I mean, but to think. I mean, how cost effective is it to buy stainless steel?
Well, you did cost effective isn't an argument when
Because
it's about your health and your life, catching cancer, dying, having these toxins
well,
going
the
through your
reason I say
bloodstream.
that because stainless steel is known to be pretty expensive. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was asking.
Yeah, but expensive, whatever. If we're talking about your health, then I don't think that that's really should be a consideration. You know what I'm saying? And I recommend everybody watch the documentary. There's a documentary about the Teflon and shit. It's out there. I don't know what the title of it is, but probably could just type it in and it'll probably pipe up because it's really common knowledge about the Teflon and how it's like this stuff stays forever, bro. They created this new damn chemical or whatever, like new particle or some shit. And they fucking this shit, they don't know what they're doing, man. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. And the old pots, we talked about this before. The old pots work way better than the new stuff. All of the old stuff is still working. People got pots that their grandma gave them, that their great grandma gave their grandma, or whatever. Y'all get what I'm saying? Been in the family forever. And the damn thing worked better than any skillet you buy in the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, I like cast iron and glassware for baking, cast iron for cooking. But like I say, yeah,
Pat says stainless or Teflon equals healthy or sick. Yeah, so I mean the price should be beside the point when it comes to that. I mean, and I get it. So everybody gonna be thinking like that. The pinch is in. The pinch is in. But I say go buy some old ass pots. Go to the damn Salvation Army or something. You might find some shit in there. For real. For real, for real. For real, for real. I bought pots and like plates and shit from I buy books and shit from I like to go to those places and I randomly find books. That's what I really like to look for when I go there. I look for books and I look for pots. You'd be surprised. Find the old ass pot. Like really, you got a problem with somebody else who had that pot? Like it's a used pot. It's a used cast iron skillet. You got a problem with the used cast iron skillet?
no, I don't.
That roll all
I
the way
don't.
out to you, so you can get at the food and back without moving anything in front. And how about your frozen things? Oh yes, there's a place for them too, in this big, big food freezer. Even your ice cubes have a special place for storage. In your Frigidaire cold pantry, there's a place for all your food, fresh and frozen, canned, bottled, and wrapped, new bought and leftover. They're all right there. And
Do
they're
y'all
all at
remember
your
those
fingertips.
refrigerators?
Let's start with
Hell
the most
no.
ingenious
I
store
do.
in any refrigerator.
I guess I'm
It has
older.
special places for bottles, spread
Grandma, somebody had a refrigerator just freaking like that. Everybody had that refrigerator. Little green monster refrigerator. I don't know about all them attachments she pulling out of there, but little green monster refrigerator with the little freezer at the bottom. She talking about a big freezer with a bunch of space in there. That thing was so little.
That video, that was hilarious, bro.
You saw this? I don't think I
Hmm.
saw this. So the guy's running. He's handcuffed. They looked like they were about to put him in the squad car. The cops obviously wasn't paying too much attention, and nobody is. Whoop! He just ate it. That's what happens when you ain't got when your hands are tied behind your back and you're trying to run. You can't get your balance. You need your arms to swing. That nigga ate it face first. The cops came and got him. His face is probably now he got evading arrest fucking charge on top of whatever it was. It smells like something is burning. What are y'all doing? I gotta see what's going on. These kids might be freaking burning this house down. Y'all, I'll be right back.
Have a flower, dude. That
Oh shit! What the hell is that? I need to play something, but I really need to go see what the fuck is going on.
Take it from the beginning. All right. They serve you with interrogatories and requests for production documents, and you have 30 days to respond. Danielle requested an extension, and Jay's attorney gave it to her. Then your attorney requested another extension, and Jay's attorney gave it to her. And then after that second extension was up, your attorney filed incomplete responses. Now, Jay's attorney sent your attorney a letter saying, "Hey, these responses are incomplete. Please send the responses within 20 days." Danielle did not do it. So then they filed a motion to compel because you guys were not responding. My simple question is, why weren't you responding to their request?
We did respond to it.
Why didn't you respond to their request completely and accurately?
We did.
I don't know what they're talking about. I apologize, you guys. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't finna die. Man, it is what it is. Y'all just don't know how much shit to be juggling. What's up, dudes? How you feel? You said you at the house, huh?
Yeah, man.
You chilling.
Yeah,
I was thinking about
here today.
I was thinking about covering some of the stuff that y'all sent me. I don't know. You sent me all that stuff. I think Pat sent me something too. And I was looking at that. Some of the stuff caught my eye. But I don't know which one. It was a lot of stuff. So what was some of the stuff? Did you watch all of those videos? That's funny. She got to walk down. I don't know. I play a lot of video games, so that's pretty good right there.
That should be on there.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. So what out of the videos you sent, what was something that maybe you want to talk about?
Well, I sent those. I sent those, just sharing those. Where did I put them? Let's see. I got them right here. Hold on. Sorry.
Let me play this right quick.
Nah,
it's got that music in there.
Okay, the one that I sent you about the Scottsboro brothers, they were fighting on the bus and being accused of rape. They were accused of rape by two white chicks because these chicks crossed the state line to commit, I forget what they call it, but yeah. So I sent you that one, and then the James Baldwin debate back in 1965 against William Buckley.
Yeah. How long is that video?
I want to say it's like 10 minutes long. 10
Oh shit, we might play that. James Baldwin is always, his clips are great. Yeah. And if people don't know who he is, they should know who he is.
And then the other video I sent by Robert Kiyosaki, the speech about where he talk about them keeping you poor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are all good videos, man.
Pet says, I love my copper pots and pans. I saw a clip where this lady had I remember the copper cups when I was young, and it was like in the country, and it was like drinking the water out the well, and they had to drink it out the copper cup. No, but it's something with that shit, with the vibrations, the magnetism. That's why we need to learn more about that stuff. And the what is it? What am I trying to think of? Acidity and alkaline. Anyways, I'm losing it. I'm kind of tired. Oh yeah, one of those. Let's do one of those. Which one you want to do? Did you send them to me? Did I fucking? Let me look for them.
I sent them to you through text. So whichever one you want to cover, man.
So you're at the house with the family. You say you starting your vacation, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we leave early Monday morning. late Sunday night, early Monday morning.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me see. Owner operators. What about this one? You didn't mention this one. Putting the owner operators out of business. Did we talk about this already?
So,
Pat may have sent that one.
passed a law.
Yeah, we talked about that one
We did in
briefly. That's the one.
California.
Yeah, that's the one I was telling you. California passed a law that you can no longer be a 1099 employee of a company.
So does that specifically attack truck owners and operators?
Anybody that's getting paid on a 1099 basis, any like contractual lease contracts, or if you are getting paid on the 1099 through, let's say you're a plumber and you're getting, but you know, you're hired on with a company and they're paying you under 1099. That's who that affects.
Let me play it.
Legislators passed a law that bans owner operators from using a provider that gives them loads. So that's basically going to take all the truck drivers that are owner operators and put them out of business in the state of California, which will consequently drive up your prices at the grocery store and whatever stores you shop at. It's not going to help the consumer at all. And it's going to force truckers to leave California if they want to keep their business and stay in business and go to a state that is not mirroring that. Unfortunately, a lot of states like New Jersey and New York always mirror what California does. So that's what's going to come up. And I really hope that the Supreme Court. So
Yeah, so you want to expand upon that for the audience, Deuce? So I have no idea really nothing about this.
That's the same officer that was telling people that not let your wife go to the grocery store. But yeah, basically, like, say for instance, you own your truck, right? But you don't have your own authority. And I have a company. Let's just say my company is called Willis Transport. And you say, okay, well, I want to lease my truck onto Willis Transport. Because they can give me my loads and they provide me benefits, like I can get my insurance through this company. I could set aside a maintenance fund through this company. I can get a fuel card, so I know I don't have to try to go get fuel card on my own. I'm gonna lease my truck on with Willis Transport. If you're in the state of California, you technically can't do that because you're not an employee of mine. So I'm gonna pay you cash up front, untaxed cash up front or money up front, and I'm gonna pay you on a 1099 where you do your own taxes. So the state of California is saying that you can't do that in their state anymore. You can't be a lease operator of a company. So the only way around that is to start your own authority, have your own truck and your own trailer, and you run under a brokerage firm. Or you get your loads under a brokerage firm, or you have your own accounts. Yeah.
I get it, but that's above my pay grade right there, like they say.
It's stupid, dude. It's stupid.
I think. Let me see. You sent me quite a few James Baldwin ones.
Because
I think I'm gonna do.
most people that own their own truck, they're leased to a company. Most. I'm not saying all, but the majority are leased to a company.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna play the this James Baldwin one. starting to get tired, and I'm like hazy, and my brain is not working very well right now. 1:30. Worked a double today, and I didn't get that much sleep last night. I got, I don't know, probably about 4 hours, maybe 3.5.
Most influential.
So I ain't gonna be able to go much longer. Let me play this though. Am I sharing? Yes, I'm sharing. Boom.
Intellectuals faced off in a debate in England at Cambridge University's debating society, the Cambridge Union. It was a debate about race, one that still fascinates and resonates today and is the subject of a new book. NewsHour Weekend Zachary Green has our story.
The trouble in America where the Negro community is concerned is a very complicated one.
It comes as a great shock to discover that the country, which is your birthplace and to which you owe your life and your identity, has not in its whole system of reality evolved any place for you.
On the evening of February 18th, 1965, two cultural giants, James Baldwin and William F. Buckley Jr., squared off in person for the first time. More than 50 years later, the debate still resonates. Political science professor Nicholas Buccola of Linfield College in Oregon was so taken with the skirmish that he wrote a book about it. The Fire is Upon Us.
It just seemed to me just such a dramatic moment and such an important one. These two movements that did so much to define 20th century political history, to have these two figures clashing was just irresistible.
Though Baldwin and Buckley were about the same age, their lives could not have begun more differently. Baldwin grew up in poverty in Harlem and went from waiting tables in New York's Greenwich Village to become a literary critic and eventually a renowned novelist and essayist. Buckley, a scion of wealth, graduated from Yale and became an influential magazine editor and columnist. Both wrote extensively about race in 1950s and 60s America, though from drastically different points of view. Buckley made his position clear in a 1957 National Review piece called Why the South Must Prevail, in which he contended that white Southerners are entitled to, quote, take such measures as are necessary to prevail politically and culturally over black citizens.
And Buckley says explicitly that they have this right and duty because they are, and this is a quote, for the time being, the advanced race. And he calls on people in the South, they have an obligation to promote the cultural equality of black people, and that eventually they need to allow them in to empower them with full citizenship.
What did Baldwin think was at the heart of the racial divide in America?
What Baldwin said from some of his earliest writings on this is that these people are scared. Their identity is wrapped up in this idea that their whiteness is what gives them their only source of moral worth in the world. It's what gives them value in the world. Baldwin says that is an extraordinarily sad moral life that person is leading. That is the thing they are clinging to give them a sense of meaning.
Buccola interviewed members of Cambridge University's debating society, the Cambridge Union, who were present at the 1965 debate. They said the union agreed to let Baldwin appear as part of a publicity tour for one of his books, as long as another guest challenged him on one of the themes of his writings. They ultimately invited Buckley, who accepted. The motion debated was this: the American dream is at the expense of the American Negro.
Good evening.
Baldwin starts his speech with this idea that we can't even begin reflecting on the moral and political questions at hand without first addressing this question of what is one's system of reality.
The Mississippi or the Alabama sheriff, who really does believe when he's facing a Negro boy or girl, that this woman, this man, this child must be insane to attack the system to which he owes his entire identity. Of course, for such a person, the proposition of which we're trying to discuss here tonight does not exist.
There's this one kind of remarkable point in the speech where Baldwin suddenly shifts from speaking in the second person to speaking in the first person.
I am stating very seriously, and this is not an overstatement, that I picked the cotton, and I carried it to market, and I built the railroad under someone else's whip for nothing. For nothing.
What do you think his purpose was in making this shift?
Baldwin wants to call on everyone watching that debate to recognize that white supremacy is not something in the past. It's something that's central to all of our lives, and that we are all in some sense complicit in it, and we all have a responsibility to fight back against it. And he talks about the ways in which the moral lives of white people have been destroyed by this plague called color.
No matter what disaster overtakes them, they have one enormous knowledge and consolation, which is like a heavenly revelation. At least they are not black. Now, I suggest that of all the terrible things that can happen to a human being, that is one of the worst. I suggest that what has happened to white Southerners is in some ways, after all, much worse than what has happened to Negroes there.
When Baldwin ended his remarks, he received a standing ovation. Then it was Buckley's turn to take the floor.
It is impossible, in my judgment, to deal with the indictment of Mr. Baldwin unless one is prepared to deal with him as a white man.
This is a strange argument for many of us to hear, but here's what Buckley had in mind. For Buckley, part of the experience of being treated as a black person was to not have one's ideas taken seriously. And so Buckley's argument was that I will treat Baldwin as a white man, that for Buckley that meant I will take his ideas seriously, and I will call him out for the ideas that I think are dangerous.
Buckley went on to describe what he saw as the causes of racial inequality in America.
One is the dreadful efforts to perpetuate discrimination by many individual American citizens as a result of their lack of that final and ultimate concern which some people are truly trying to agitate the other. Is as a result of the failure of the Negro community itself to make certain exertions which were made by other minority groups during the American experience.
Wow, that was a word salad. What the hell did he even say? I'm sorry, I don't even understand.
He was very careful to say there are individual white people. So it's not a collective problem. There are some bad apples out there, and that needs to be addressed. But then he says, really, the central problem is that African Americans aren't taking advantage of the opportunities that are available to them.
At the time of the debate in early 1965, the Voting Rights Act had not yet passed, and black people in the South still faced enormous barriers at the ballot box. At one point during Buckley's remarks, an American audience member interjected.
One thing you might do, Mr. Buckley, is let them vote in Mississippi.
I think actually what is wrong in Mississippi, sir, is not that not enough Negroes are voting, but that too many white people are voting.
The audience laughs, but Buckley is deadly serious about this. He's still supporting disenfranchisement of black people, but he's saying I'll also disenfranchise some white people and leave only a white elite to control the situation in the South. And he's using things like this idea of colorblind constitutionalism as a way to kind of hollow out the accomplishments of the civil rights movement.
At the end of the debate, a vote was taken to determine the winner. Baldwin received 544 votes. Buckley, just 164. But Buckley was far from discouraged.
He says, I am so proud of my performance that night because I did not give them 1 inch. That really captures his creed in a very short slogan, right?
In Bucola's final analysis, the divide between Baldwin and Buckley is reflective of the political divide facing Americans even today.
To be a patriot for Buckley meant standing up for the institutions and ideas that you take to be central to the American political experiment. And he viewed his role throughout his life as being somebody who would be a guardian of those ideals against ideas and institutions and groups that he thought were threatening to those ideals. Baldwin says that patriotism requires a constant criticism, a constant reflection on the ways in which we're falling short of our ideals. And to love one's country means that we have to do that together. It's the foundation of morally how we ought to behave, how we ought to live together. And it's the foundation politically of what we need to do as a country to move closer to justice.
Bada bing, bada boom, forget about it. Comments.
Yeah, man, I sent you that video based off of what we were viewing last night. And it just goes to show how, looking at that standoff, that debate, how you have this guy and it's the same thing that we see today. They're willing to give up some, you know, for that superiority to get for the elites, and that's who in control as of now, you know. And it's the same shit that's taking place right now that we're faced with right now in this country, you know. And I think it kind of drives home that argument of what Pat has been saying too as well. You know, you can't be too much on one side. You know, you got to think for yourself. You got to form opinions and based off of what you see.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't be too much Republican, too much Democrat. You know, because there's good and bad on both sides. But at the end of the day, they're working for the same goals.
Pat says you don't want to hear my comments. He gonna
Yeah, I
make
do.
gonna make everybody mad. So
Shit. Hey, sometimes it takes you to be pissed off to make a change.
I'm telling you.
You know what I'm saying? Why you think Martin Luther King then was so significant? Because they pissed people off.
Yeah.
They pissed them racist motherfuckers off.
Malcolm X,
Malcolm
Marcus
X.
Garvey.
Yeah. You sometimes you gotta piss motherfuckers off. You know?
Let me.
You don't leave an argument thinking about shit when you're calm. You leave an argument thinking about this whole you leave an argument thinking about this shit when you pissed off like this motherfucker. Like, you thinking about everything that you may have did or said or what this other person has said, like, so if people are always calm, come on man, let's just go with the flow, bro. Let's light up a spliff to this. It's gonna be all right. That shit don't change nothing.
Mm.
Can't always be peace. Why do you think the Native Americans fought to their death? You know what I'm saying? You gotta fight for something you believe in. And you can't believe this bullshit that they feed you. But I think too many of us people of color do believe it, and that's why we hee hee ha ha. Hey Karen, you wanna go to dinner tonight? We're gonna have some drinks, we're gonna talk.
Eh, man, my mind is like not really here. Let me read the caption underneath the video. It says, "It has been 55 years since civil rights activist James Baldwin and founders of the Conservative
So
National Review, William F. Buckley Jr., met for a debate on race in America. That discussion and the lives of the two cultural giants are subjects of a new book. The Fire Upon Us. Zachary Green spoke with author and political scientist Nicholas Bukola about how the debate's still resonating." Let me read some. Oh, comments are turned off. That's not surprising. I bet you was a lot of hate speech underneath this. This is posted by PBS. The title is Baldwin Buckley Race Debate Still Resonates 55 years on.
and there's a full video on that on PBS NewsHour. It's like a 55-minute long video of the whole debate, but I just shared the short.
Yeah, the analysis and stuff, because that's what everybody wants anyways. We probably would have bored them to death with the actual thing. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting tired, bro.
I feel you.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it soon, but see if anything pops up.
Bell peppers. Ain't
Yeah.
nothing like some good old stuffed bell peppers.
Damn. Is
Them
that a
hogs
what is
tearing that
that?
fucking wolf ass up.
It can't be a wolf.
Yeah, that's a wolf. Either a wolf or a coyote. It looks more like a wolf.
It cannot be a wolf. I mean, maybe it is because it's hard to see how big those eagles are. They're freaking huge, but wolves are big, man. I can't imagine that being a wolf. It's got to be something smaller.
It
The way,
could be a smaller wolf of the pack that got away from the pack, but that looks more like a coyote.
yeah, it's probably not a wolf. It's something else. Like, yeah, a dingo ate your baby.
But you
Damn.
can't really say that, bro. I've seen there's videos surfacing around YouTube if you go and look them up of eagles literally flying and swooping and picking a full-grown buck, like a mule deer
Yeah.
buck, flipping that sucker like they're flying because they swoop down with so much force and they have so much strength and literally doing like a somersault in the air with this buck and pinning it down, like for real. Those birds are very strong. People look at birds and think, they can't. No, birds like that are very strong.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. Says Houston businesswoman is taking action against Chris Brown after she said he canceled his performance for a benefit concert, allegedly kept 1.1 million after canceling during sound check. Yeah, I bet you that's a true story.
Shit. Well, I don't know why he canceled.
It might be something in his contract to be like, hey, the sound got to sound good or something. Like he was like, I'm not feeling this, I'm out. Be like, y'all got to pay me for showing up for this shit.
It could be an unsafe environment, whatever. You just never know.
Yeah, never know. Whatever contracts he has, it could have been in the contract that said, shoot, if I don't feel comfortable, I'm out. Y'all still got to pay me. Make sure I'm comfortable when I get there. Who knows? Who knows? I don't really care at all. I saw this. I'm not going to touch on that. That's too fucking emotional. Oh, yeah. Did you see that? The damn ostrich was loose in Houston. The
Yeah,
cops
that
was
sucker
chasing.
must have got out must have got out the zoo or something, huh?
I don't know. I didn't really look into it because I don't care, but it's funny. And the cops was chasing it like forever, trying to get it. So many clips. Damn ostrich was running around the city, and the cops trying to. Guess they was scared of it. They don't know what to do with it. The gun don't work. Can't use my gun. What am I supposed to do? They say having money can have awkward combos with family. Can I play this? What is this clip from? See, I don't know what this clip is from. I might not be able to play this.
It says J Mac Worldwide.
Yeah, but that's just the Instagram page. Now, where the clip actually came from is what I need to know when it's not showing. So if I play it, I might get in trouble depending on the source. It could be an HBO clip. I'm definitely in trouble if it's that.
Like, it changed my perception on life.
That's
you got an iced out
Breakfast
watch on right
Club.
now, Fluff.
Man, this is old, brother.
Right.
This is old. Look at diamonds missing. I broke the bottom of it. I might eat the fix it. I'm not trying to impress nobody. You know I got paper.
Right.
Why I gotta keep showing you every day? Why I gotta keep buying these new cars? Why I gotta keep buying brands that ain't doing nothing for the people that I'm around? Nothing. That's why I stopped wearing jewelry. I started traveling. I started seeing these. I was giving my diamond chains, like breaking it apart. I'm dead serious. Like it changed my perception on life. Like,
Hey, you got an iced out watch on right now, Fluff.
man,
I like that guy. It's crazy that the music that he made was so like negative and derogatory and like unthinking, but then this guy is really smart.
Comments.
This guy is really smart though. What's his name?
Waka Flocka,
Thomas.
but his music was not very derogative though. Yeah, it was more like, to me, I thought of his music as like mosh pit, like crunk, like what the Lil Jon and Eastside Boy. I mean, it probably had some violent content, but
Pat says the call for black people to correct their political status to indigenous was present during
Indigenous.
that time too. He said Kevin Hart. Was that from the Kevin Hart show? I definitely can't play it if that's what it was from.
Heart to heart. Yeah, yeah, that's what that was from. Yeah, because I saw that clip on TikTok. The heart to heart.
Yeah, I can't play stuff like that on here because I'm broadcasting, so it's different rules. You can do that on TikTok. I probably could post it even in a video. They'll do copyright match, and
What
and
was
I won't
that?
get no credit for the video, but they won't like be on my ass. But if I broadcast it, it's different. They're like, you're broadcasting stuff that you don't own.
Bro, that shit tell me tripping me out, boy.
I love it. I ain't gonna lie, man. Humans and unity. But I also think about the Ants movie. Remember that which one was it? Bug's Life? Where the guy, everybody danced the same way and together, and the one guy was just starting to do something different. He was like, they was like, "What are you doing? You're not supposed to do that." He was like, "Why does everybody have to dance the same way? I want to do my own thing over here." Yeah, man. I don't know which one that one was. I think that was Ants, the one I'm talking about right now. But I
Yeah,
really
it's been
like
a while.
Bug's Life was so good. That shit, both of those movies really were good. But I think out of those two, though, I think Bug's Life was the one that was better because of the story and like the message and shit.
Return here from Arabians.
All this plastic washed up on Mumbai's Mayhem Beach. That's what the thing is, man. We love thy neighbor. Like, you throw trash in the ocean, you think that shit just disappears? No, it doesn't. That shit got to go somewhere. Land on somebody else's shore. But you don't care as long as it's not yours, right? I'm about to wrap it because my mind ain't in it and I'm tired. I feel like I've been rambling. I think the beginning of it was good. An NYC man is wanted by the police for sticking his face in a woman's butt as she climbed the subway steps. Bruh, can't be sticking your face in random people's butts. You gotta ask them first.
Man,
She
that's
probably would have
crazy.
said yeah. Let me read this. It says, this is funny.
Probably
It's,
tripped up the steps.
yeah, it could have been a mistake. You know, hey, things happen. Let me read this. It says, a creep stuck his face into a woman's backside as she climbed subway steps in Brooklyn, cops said. The victim, 40, was exiting the J Street Metro Tech station in the corner of J and Willoughby Street about 10:15 p.m. when the suspect approached her from behind last month and forcefully placed his face in her buttocks, police said. The ticked-off victim did not turn the other cheek. She wheeled around and clocked the perv with her purse, cops said. The coward retreated and fled out of the subway station, police said. The woman was not injured. Why did they say she did not turn the other cheek? This is hilarious.
That shit crazy.
Yeah, man. What is going on? It's the world. It's the world we live in. A comment says, nigga just couldn't resist. Somebody said he risked it all. It said, the other cheek, who is writing these? Turn the other cheek. Who is writing these articles? That's the same thing I was thinking. It says, blood down bad. He said, nah, bro, wildin'. Somebody get the brother some water. It says, well, y'all got the pic. Let me see the other. Somebody always gotta. He was just sniffing for illegal substances, LOL. He said, somebody said, that's how you get pink eye. I'm saying, bro, like, dog, walking down the fucking subway. When was the last time she took a shower? You really nasty. You a nasty and you a creep. Oh shit. Look, somebody said what you said. He said he probably fell up the steps. Sheesh. Another one says that damn niggas can't fall up the stairs no more.
She was
That's
like,
funny.
he put his nose in my ass.
Yeah, how did you write up that report? I bet you that was killing the cops when they had to. After she finished turning in the report, they went back there and laughed their ass off. I'm sure it was killing them. Hey, come take a look at this. Y'all, stop what y'all doing. Come look at this. Come look at this. Come look at this report I just wrote. This is real. This is a real report. I didn't make this up. This is real. Everybody took a break and laughed at her for a good 15, 20 minutes before they went back to work. Maybe longer. They went to lunch and was like, man, we got to go to lunch. Let's just go to lunch. Everybody, let's go to lunch. We talk about this shit. It's fucking funny, man. Anyways, I'm about to wrap it. Thank y'all for joining. I would have loved some donations for me doing the show, y'all. I appreciate y'all support. Donate to the channel. Keep the channel going. King Chalky ENT is the Cash App. $5, $10, $2, $3. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It does cost me money to do the show. Believe it or not. It really does. I'm going in the hole making this damn show. It's all good though. I'm doing it out of love, you know. Doing it because I feel like I can make a difference. Or try. And I'm holding on to hope, you know, that people's perspective can be impacted when we have conversations on like real topics and you get to hear people with different points of view on it. You know, people's different take on it. And that's why, you know, I invite everybody to come and join the show and leave comments or whatever. We want to hear what y'all have to say about this stuff, you know. We all have to deal with it. That's the reason why I talk about stuff that we all deal with. You know, it always relates to, you know, the human condition, you know, what we're going through. And the focus is improvement, you know, right? Growth, making things better, right? We need to progress the conversation. Anybody that watches the show, whenever you talk to people, try to steer the conversation and progress the conversation. Get it away from an argument. Get it away from small talk. You know what I'm saying? Let's go into something real and have a conversation about it. And maybe we can both come away from the conversation, you know, with something we didn't have before, you know? That's never going to happen if we just keep on talking the small talk and avoiding these conversations. We gotta go at them head on and really just get it out there. I want people to say how they really, really, really feel. Truth and honesty. That's the only way we're gonna be able to move forward out of this situation that we're in humanity. And if y'all are not paying attention, humanity is really at a tipping point. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they've been saying that for years and they say that forever, and maybe it's true, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's an exaggeration. I don't know, but I'm sure y'all see the acceleration. Look at all of the technological advances that we've made. You know, look how many people have come out of poverty. You know, we have the power to really just shape our whole like existence. And I don't know that people had that choice before. And so what choice are we going to make? How are we going to take this? How are we going to guide this? What kind of life are we going to live as humans? What kind of world are we creating? Because we're creating this world, each one of us every day, by the decisions that we make, the stuff we do. And that's why I be talking about Amazon. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to knock y'all, but if y'all want to fix some of the problems, stop ordering a bunch of shit off of Amazon. Stop going to Walmart. You know, stop going to McDonald's. Stop, you know, patronizing these leeching ass companies, you know, and support some small businesses. You probably know somebody. Tebow, Tyrone, Karen, and Kim, and Tony, and Eduardo, and Sally, Sue, and Tom. They all got a freaking business that you could patronize, but you don't. You go with the big companies. It's easy. But we all losing as a result of this. So you can have an impact. Anyways, give me some money. Pat said thugs, hilarious. Maybe it would have been better for everyone if she had turned the other cheek. Maybe it would have been better. She could have just turned the other cheek, you know. I'm sure the guy would have enjoyed that. Yeah, y'all. Send me some money. King Chaka Cash App. Yeah. Check out the music, Spotify. Check out the podcast, Spotify, Apple. I'm starting to turn into a robot. Now I know why people do that shit. It's kind of like the little ads that they do. Because the real ads, when we're talking it out, they work better. Anyways, I think we had a good week of shows. I'm definitely going to do a bunch of clips. And I'm going to do, I'm going to post a bunch of videos out of this stuff. I think some of the content was pretty good. So I think I got a good 10, 15 videos coming for y'all. Clips from the 4 lives that I did this week. So yeah, peace and love. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for listening. We'll be back next week. Same time, same channel. Love thy neighbor. Do something nice for somebody. And I'm not talking about give them money. Do something thoughtful for someone.
Yeah.
All right.
Bro, I met somebody in Total Wines and told them about the show. One of the guys that worked there, and told them how to look it up and exchange phone numbers and stuff. And I told him, I was like, man, let me know when we go live. You want to join in on the deal?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's the kind of support right there. And, hopefully we want to make the community bigger. I'm not tripping about the views, but I really would like more people to join the show and chop it up just because I really want to hear what y'all have to say. But anyways, peace and love, y'all. Thank you for joining, dudes, because I know you wasn't at work. When you at work, it's different because you just kind of like me to pass the time anyways. But when you off, you spending time with the family, it's really more precious time. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, man. Shit, appreciate you for coming on. I ain't know if you was coming on or not, but shit, I'm here. I even called Pat, was like, hey, are we going live tonight?
Yeah. At first, I wasn't going to go because I was feeling really tired and distracted. But I saw that video and it had my mind going. I'm going to go. After we click off, I'm probably going to look at more stuff on that because that's where my head is at right now on spiritual stuff. So maybe I'll go into some of that stuff next week. It all depends on what pops up on my timeline, though. I ain't going to lie.
I feel you.
Anyways,
well, man, that's what's up, bro. Well, get some rest, man. I'll holler at you and Pat. Pat, I'll probably hit you up while I'm rolling, headed down that way. So I know I ain't gonna hit you up early in the morning like that, but when you get rolling, give me a holler if you listening.
Yep. All right, man. Peace and love. Y'all have a good one.
All right, bro. You do the same.